What is up, everyone? So today I'm going to show you how to build these lollipops on a budget. They're pretty cheap to build, and basically what they're going to take is a pool noodle, some colorful duct tape, or any type of tape that you have that's colorful. It doesn't have to be duct tape, that's a brand, and PVC pipes. So let's get into this DIY project and see what it takes to build these. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to make these lollipops is, of course, pool noodles. These are your standard pool noodles, nothing spectacular. You could get the different diameters, 2.5 inch or 3 inch. It's totally up to you. But I do recommend getting 2 of these to make one. So you're going to have to connect this, and I'll show you how to connect that in a little bit. If you don't get 2, your lollipops will come out small, okay? Next thing you're going to want is some cellophane, and this is so you can wrap the lollipop and make it look authentic. This one looks kind of short as far as the cellophane width, but it actually folds out into double this length, which is close to about 40 inches or so. And this is a thicker material. I think this is 3 mils thick, so make sure you look for a thicker material so that way it doesn't rip when you're utilizing it. So keep that in mind. All right, another thing you're going to need is a hot glue gun if you decide that you're going to put 2 of these together. Okay, so that's something that you're going to need. It's not mandatory if you're not going to extend them and you're just going to make them the size of this, but this is going to be a little bit short. Okay, you're also going to need your hot glue sticks. You're going to need your PVC pipe. So there's a few ways to get this. What you can do is get the 10-foot stick and cut it down to size. You're going to need one of these if you do that, or you can buy it in these 5-foot lengths already pre-cut and just use the whole stick itself. This is 3/4 inch. You could use 1/2 or 3/4. I prefer the 3/4 because it's a little bit more rigid, so there's not a lot of flex to it, and it kind of to the scale size of the lollipop, it kind of fits that aspect. So 3/4 inch PVC. Okay, so in correspondence to getting PVC pipe, what you're going to want is a stake of some sort. This could be any type of stake you want. This just happens to be a piece of conduit, 1/2 inch, that I have. And what this is going to allow you to do is, once you use this as the lollipop stick itself, this would be driven into the ground, and you could slide it in like that so it could hold your lollipop into place. Okay, so you're going to need some type of stake. Conduit's pretty cheap, so I do recommend conduit unless you already have something to replace that. Okay, another thing you're going to need is some tape, and this will give you your pin striping, which I'll show you. And then a pair of scissors to cut the tape. Not needed, but highly recommended. And those scissors will cut your ribbon, which you're going to probably need anyway to cut the ribbon if you decide to use the cellophane in this in correspondence. Okay, so the reason why you want the ribbon is so that way it's a decorative piece, and it can make your thing, you know, look more complete. Okay, this is purchased from the Dollar Tree, so it's pretty cheap. It could be any size you want, and it could say whatever it is that you decide you want to use. So keep that in mind. Dollar Tree does have some of this stuff. So let's get to building the actual lollipop for your front yard and to decorate your Christmas attire. Okay, so what we want to do is join these 2 together. So what you need to do first is fill this up with hot glue. Remember, the hotter it is, it's going to melt into your foam. So be wary of that. Don't let this hot glue get too hot. Put a generous amount on it. And then from there, what you could do is stick these 2 together like so. Okay? And then you just hold them there until it dries and fully cures. That's step 1. So once you got this massive noodle, what you need to do is choose a color of your liking that complements the color of the noodle that you have. So whatever you prefer is what you're going to wrap it in. And what you're going to need to do is start at one end at an angle. I'd say somewhere around 45 degrees. So the angle of the tape should be about right here. So that way it could wrap around and complete this whole thing in a few stripes. If you do it at less of an angle, like something about like 10 degrees, then it's gonna be a lot closer, the wrap, and you won't see as much blue. So you wanna put it around 45 degrees so the tape and the blue are kind of the same width. So it looks like a double stripe. So let's get that wrapped and see what it looks like. So now that your noodle's entirely wrapped with the color tape you want, now what you're gonna attempt to do is start at one end and roll it like this. And as you roll it, you wanna put hot glue here, hot glue there, and hold it. And then keep rolling it like so. So that way it holds itself together. This is a lot easier with two people, so that way someone could hold it as you tape it and someone could hold it as you wrap it or apply the glue. So keep that in mind. Two people, two-person job, it's way better than just doing it yourself. So let's get this rolled up and see what it looks like. So this is what it should look like once you're done. You could reinforce one side with more glue if you want, because that's the side you're not gonna see. So that's what it looks like. I put tape here to hold it until it dries. Now what we need to do is, you want this to be at the bottom. So you're gonna puncture a hole in it. You could use a scissor to puncture it, like so, straight into it. Or you could use your conduit and cut a hole in it. Or you could use a knife. Whatever it is you have, all you wanna do is go and put a hole in it as far down as you can. Ideally, you wanna go all the way to the center, just so that way it's like a lot more stronger that way and more robust. But keep in mind, when you're gluing stuff like this, if you get it too hot, it'll start melting into the plastic, like you see right here. So make sure you regulate your glue gun, okay? So this is test one, and it came out pretty decent for what it is, okay? So let's cut into it. So once you puncture your hole, of course this comes off. This is just temporarily placed. Now you could just insert your tubing like so. Mind you that this tubing's kind of big, so I may have to make it a little bit bigger of a hole, but for the most part, this is how it should come out, like so. Now from here, we're gonna wrap it with cellophane and put a bow around it, and then you would have your lollipop. Okay, so now what you need to do is cut your cellophane to the length that you desire, okay? Mind you, this is the back side, so I made sure the letters are on the back side. And we'll take it, wrap it up like this, and then scrunch it down like so, okay? So once you get this all situated, remember the back doesn't really matter too much, because this is where you're gonna wrap the bow around, and the actual bow is gonna be on the front side where it's nice and flat, okay? So if you need to, you could take up some of the slack by folding it this way, like so, so that way you don't see too much. And then this would be the back side because of the lettering. So if you look at this side, it looks like crap. It's all taped up, but that's what you have to do to get the cellophane to look right. But on the front side, it looks way better. And as you can see, it's just a white stick, okay? And you could cut these down to any size you want, hence the cutters that you would need. And the reason why you would want to cut this down is if you have like 5 or 10 of these, you probably want to stagger them at different angles, maybe one at sideways like so, maybe one straight up. But you could also cut it to make them different heights, so that way they look different. Also, when rolling these, the more you condense this, the smaller the lollipop. So the next one I do, I'm gonna try to leave it at the full diameter, so that way it could be a lot larger, okay? So test run number 1, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna put the bow here and see what it finishes out like. So we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see, I actually redid the cellophane. The back looks the same, the front's a little different. It's a lot smoother, but I extended the cellophane further down on the shaft itself for your little stick. And then I threw the bow on it to complete the look. Of course, you could probably do a better job than me, but that's what it looks like. So let's get the rest of these built and put them in the yard and see what they look like. Okay, so these are some of the finished products after everything's said and done. Now the only thing we have left is installation. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna show you how I mounted this lollipop with Olaf, and of course the rest of these as follows. But so that way no one could steal it, and it holds its structure, and making your own stakes for a cheaper price than buying some ridiculously large stakes and paying 10 bucks a piece. Okay, when you're mounting the lollipops, the first thing you're gonna need is a conduit stick, okay? Your banging tool, and this is just a bolt with the nut on it and some washers so it doesn't deform this end. Ideally, what you wanna do is grind this down to fit inside of here, so that way you could connect this together and then slide it into it, okay? This is 1/2 inch, you could use, I think 3/4 may work as well. So what we want to do is put this at an angle so it looks like he's holding the lollipop. So we angle it and then you just pound it in. So one thing you don't want to do is drive this all the way in, because you're gonna still want some for the lollipop itself to slide over. So this part of it, you want it to slide down and support it. So if this was all the way down, it wouldn't have as much support. And then we'll put a screw in there so that way you can't just slip it out and take it, okay? Okay, so now what you wanna do is take a small bit, okay, whatever size it is that you need. Make sure your lollipop's in the right position you want it to be in, and drill out the hole. So once you figured out the hole size and everything, now you put your self-tapping screw in, or your sheet metal screw, and drive it in. And now no one could steal it that easily. So that's going to complete today's video on these DIY lollipop suckers. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. If you want to see content like this and other content I'll be posting on my channel, consider subscribing. Until next time, I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.